What's up, guys? It's Jades Corner back here again for the first time after a 2-week hiatus nearly. We're back with the Teen Wolf videos. I know I've been away for a little while. If you guys saw my last live stream I did, which was my end of an era live stream, catch that live stream if you want to know why I've been gone for the last 2 weeks. But anyway, we're back with Teen Wolf videos. Took some time off, much needed time off, and yeah, I'm back. I'm glad I'm back. We're back with the Teen Wolf videos, and yeah, we got some good news to get into before I get into the gist of this video. Just want to let you guys know that 2 weeks later, since it has been nearly 2.5 weeks since the Teen Wolf movie was released last month on January 26th, it's still number 2 for the most popular thing on Paramount Plus. It was the number 1 most popular thing, but it has dropped down to number 2, and I'm not really mad about it dropping down to number 2 because I'm actually happy about what's above it, and that is Wolfpack. So Wolfpack is the number 1 most watched thing on Paramount Plus. It's extremely popular. It's even more popular than Yellowstone, which is one of the most popular shows going on television today. So yeah, Wolfpack is officially up there for some of the most popular television on TV and on all of streaming now. And Teen Wolf the movie is the most popular film on Paramount Plus still. So even with all the negative reviews and negative backlash, and especially the negative coverage it's been getting from randos who claim to be part of the Teen Wolf community and claim they were part of the Teen Wolf community, but I've never seen them make a Teen Wolf video a day in my life on YouTube. It's still doing relatively well despite all the negative backlash. So this is strong signs for the franchise moving forward. Very happy about this, even though y'all are gonna hear my final thoughts on what I think about Teen Wolf the movie in this video, because in today's video we are going to be re-ranking all the seasons along with Teen Wolf the movie for the very first time in terms of the movie. This will probably be my 3rd time, I think, ranking all the seasons, but we're just gonna lump them all together and rank the whole franchise now that Teen Wolf the movie is out. I wanted to do this before, but I wanted to wait until the movie was out in order to do this, so we're doing it now. So at number 10, I'm gonna have to go with Season 6 Part 2. Now, Season 6 Part 2 is still, in my opinion, the worst thing this franchise has ever produced. I know a lot of people said Teen Wolf the movie is. You'll hear my thoughts on where that is in this video, of course. But no, they're lying their ass off, or they're capping hard as hell. Season 6B is absolutely awful. It's some of the worst television I've ever seen. I have a whole video planned sometime this year where I'm finally going to talk about all my issues with Season 6 Part 2 and why I think it was a travesty and why it shouldn't have ever been made anyway. That's one of the positives of the Teen Wolf movie, is that they didn't follow up on the Monroe story because I didn't want them to in the first place. So I'm glad Jeff Davis skipped over it, because he probably saw the fan backlash and he was like, yeah, a lot of people don't like 6B, so we're going to skip over the Monroe stuff. And I'm glad he did, because if we got Monroe in the film, I would have probably put the film as the worst thing ever made, because a sequel to 6B is an automatic death sentence for your franchise. And yeah, I don't like Teen Wolf Season 6 Part 2. It's really bad. Some of the worst episodes in the whole franchise. Literally had an episode which made me fall asleep while playing one of my favorite video games, which is Marvel Spider-Man. And if you're making me fall asleep while playing a Spider-Man game, with Spider-Man being my favorite superhero, you know your season is absolute garbage. So at number 10 is going to be Season 6 Part 2 for Teen Wolf. At number 9, this is going to shock a lot of people if you have seen my Teen Wolf the movie reaction and my review plus spoiler review. This is going to shock you. But those videos were put out like at least, I think, 2 weeks ago at this point for a majority of those, since it's been like 2 weeks since I really put anything out on the channel. So my thoughts have obviously changed, you know, letting all the hype from the movie dial down, so it's kind of calmed down for over the last 2 weeks. So where do I sit on Teen Wolf the movie right now? In my opinion, my rating has dropped even more. I'm gonna give Teen Wolf the movie a 6 out of 10. I think that's a fair ranking to give it. I think it deserves a 6. In my honest opinions, non-biased, being a Teen Wolf fan, I have to give it a 6, because there are a lot of issues with this movie once you start to take the blinders off and once you start to realize You know, there are some good things in there, but there's, I would say, more negative than good. Even though the goods are really high, the negatives kind of outweigh the good. I was kind of trending on a 5, but I was like, I'll be generous and give it a 6. And you guys know what my ranking at first was. It was a 9. I was totally blinded by my excitement just for Teen Wolf coming back. And I tried to not be as biased as possible, which I genuinely was doing. But I noticed a little bit of my bias started to slip through. And as the weeks passed by, a lot of that bias kind of died down. I was like, you know what? I got to look at the film for what it really is. I wish it was better. I think everybody wishes it was better. But unfortunately, they gave us the film we got. Like, I would have wanted to have said it's one of the best films of 2023. Unfortunately, it's probably not going to be that. It's probably going to be on one of the worst films of 2023 for me personally. But yeah, that's where Teen Wolf the movie sits. Those are my final thoughts on the film. It's a 6 out of 10. Might disappoint some of you guys. A lot of you guys may be shocked and happy to see that my rating has went down. But yes, it has gone down to a 6. So that's where Teen Wolf the movie ranks. At number 8 is going to be Teen Wolf Season 1. I think Teen Wolf Season 1 is extremely overrated. I think that it is nothing but mediocre trash once you take off the nostalgia blinders. I think that a lot of people were kind of like me at one point in time where they loved this season because it's so nostalgic when you go back and watch it, especially if you were a fan of the show while it was still on the air. Like me, I started watching during the season 5 days in late 2015, early 2016 during the season 5 part 2 era. And yeah, man, like, I don't know. I liked this season a lot when I first started watching the show, but you know, me getting older and me, you know, looking into a lot of things and, you know, my perspectives on a lot of things growing, Teen Wolf Season 1 is not that great. A lot of the season is bad. It's kind of carried by Dylan O'Brien for the most part and Tyler Hoechlin. Posey, he's fine, but he's not, you know, as good as an actor as he would develop to be later on in the show. Crystal is okay. She's kind of just here and there in terms of the acting, even though she's better than Posey in my opinion. Holland's, again, just there. Colton's just there too. Like, everybody's fine and serviceable in their roles, but the show does get a lot better from this season and, you know, going into the future, which is a good thing, because if the show just ended in season 1, I would have considered the show to be bad, to be trash, and I would not be covering it on this channel. Which is one of the reasons why I didn't name the channel Teen Wolf Corner, and I kept it as Jades Corner, because, you know, it's me. I can talk about anything I want, even though I mainly make my main topic on this channel Teen Wolf because it's my favorite show, and here on and so forth. But yeah, that's where season 1 goes. I think it's mediocre trash. I think if you take the nostalgia blinders off, you'll see it's mediocre as well. And yeah, I think this is where it respectfully goes. At number 7, I'm going to have to rank season 5 part 1 here. I don't know about you guys, but season 5 part 1 is still boring to me till this day. I do not understand the love that people have been giving this season lately. It's really boring. A lot of the episodes I just end up not being interested in, especially considering that Styles is actually really good in season 5 as a whole. Even though he's kind of underutilized in the second half, I think I would say he's kind of underutilized the whole season, but he's pretty good. Dylan O'Brien in this season. But yeah, season 5 part 1 has always been boring to me. I always found the Dread Doctors to be completely uninteresting. I don't know why. I know a lot of people in my comments recently have said that season 5 has gone up for them, and they said the Dread Doctors are interesting. I think the only thing that really saves this first half of season 5, because, you know, Scott's an idiot. This is one of the worst Scott McCall iterations we have ever gotten. He's really stupid this season. A lot of the characters just piss me off for some reason. I think Theo saves this season a lot, despite me not liking Theo in season 5 that much, because, you know, it's not Cody Christian. Cody Christian does a great job, and it's why I don't like Theo, because Cody Christian is so good at playing him, but he's just an unbearable asshole who just likes to cause trouble, and it just likes to manipulate people, and you know, it's in his character. But yeah, that's just, you know, major props to Cody Christian for making that role as good as it is. But yeah, that's where season 5 part 1 goes. Season 6 part 1. Now, if you would have asked me this in 2017, I would have told you this was either number 1 or number 2. But I think this season doesn't hold up that well at all, nearly 6 to 7 years after its release. This season has fallen off a lot, and it's not because the story is bad. It's not because Douglas is a bad villain, because he's not. He's actually one of Teen Wolf's strongest villains, if you ask me. It's not because of the lack of styles, even though that is a factor into the enjoyability of the season, even though this season Styles is like the main focus. Like, he's like the focal point, unlike a lot of the other seasons of the show. I think it's primarily due to me over the years enjoying other seasons more than this one. So that's why it's kind of fallen off for me. Like, I don't think it's bad. I just think that other seasons of the show that I thought were bad before have really grown on me and have pushed this one back down quite a bit. So yeah, this is where season 6 part 1 goes for me. Teen Wolf season 4. Now, this season has really grown on me. I really like season 4 a lot. It's probably the funniest season of the whole show. One of the things that kills it for me is the lack of any direction for Kira. I do not understand why Kira was left in the show past season 3, because season 3 was the only season where she had even somewhat of a significant role, and even then her mother was more important to her in season 3. Any of you guys who are Arden Cho supporters can probably come after me and be like, oh my god, Jade hating on Arden was important. No, you can Discord links in the description if you want to debate me on this. But yeah, no, Arden Cho wasn't, even in season 3, like, her mom was the reason the whole Nogitsune storyline even happened. Like, her mom could have killed the Nogitsune, would have been perfectly fine. Like, Kira is not, they try to make Kira seem more special than she actually was. But especially after season 3, like, Arden Cho was just there. Like, she had nothing to do, which is one of the more disappointing parts of season 4. The fact that Kira was just there to be the awkward girlfriend of Scott. And even then, this season gave us some of the most cringe scenes in all of Teen Wolf, and most of them came from Arden Cho, such as the scene where, I don't know if Jeff thought this was funny or if the whole crew thought this was funny. Arden was walking down the stairs and they were doing like a slow-mo thing where she was trying to get the attention of Dylan Sprayberry to ask him to invite him to Lydia's lake house, but then she fell on the floor and it looks absolutely horrendous. It looks terrible in retrospective. It's bad. It's not funny. It's cringe. And I just go like, oh my god, like, every time I see that scene, it's really bad. But yeah, that's one of the worst parts of season 4. Also, I think that this is the season which started the downward trend of Teen Wolf for sure. As the viewership started going down. And another big reason why I rank it so low is because of the multiple villains thing. Like, you have the Benefactor, you have Kate, and you have Peter. Having multiple villains is fine if you can handle it, but to do that in a 12 episode span, no, just does not work. Which is one of the things I have to give season 5 props for, because they had a 20 episode length for the season, which really helped in the multiple villains aspects. I think it worked out a lot better. But in season 4, I think it was poorly executed because, you know, it just seemed like the Benefactor storyline just ended just so they can end it, just so we can get the last 2 episodes to go back to the somewhat put to the back burner Kate and Peter stuff. So yeah, that's where season 4 goes. At number 4 is going to be Teen Wolf season 2. Season 2 of Teen Wolf, in my opinion, is really underrated. I think the Kanema storyline was amazing. I think that Matt is one of the most underrated and one of the best villains in Teen Wolf. He doesn't get talked about nearly enough. I think that Gerard in this season, of course, is at his absolute best. This season also, I think, has my definitive Scott McCall. It has my favorite Scott. Scott is at his smartest in this season. Like, the plans he comes up with, especially towards the end of the finale, is really, really smart and something you wouldn't expect from Scott, which is cool. And yeah, I just really have come to like season 2 a lot more over the years, and I think that this is where it respectively goes. At number 3 is going to be a controversial pick, because I know a lot of people have this season at their number 1, and I did too the last 2 times I did this ranking. But over the last couple of months, due to the amount of NPCs and bots and absolute sheep who just believe anything they see on the internet, and their constant praise for the season and overhyping of the season, has really killed the season for me. And that's season 3 part 2 of Teen Wolf. Don't get me wrong, this season is amazing. Dylan O'Brien is fantastic. He deserved all the praise he got. Arden Cho, a little bit overrated. People started praising her up only because of the Teen Wolf the movie controversy. I promise you, and I'm heavily active in this fandom, still am till this day. No one was begging for Arden Cho to come back in Teen Wolf the movie, and no one was talking about Kira like that in Teen Wolf Season 3. You might have had your small pockets of weirdos on the internet talking about Kira in Season 3 and how important she was, but no one was talking about Arden Cho or Kira being important in Season 3 until the whole controversy with her lying about her pay on the movie started. So yeah, I think that because of a lot of these, quite frankly, woke people and idiots out here and NPCs who just see articles and just read the headlines and just run with it and act like that's the truth, it really killed this season for me, and it really brought it down because I'm like, damn, a lot of people overrate this season now just because of this. Like, bro, like, I love Season 3, but in my opinion, like, Season 3 Part 1 is way more enjoyable to watch. I get through that season way quicker. And I started to notice that too. Like, as I got older, it took me a lot longer to get through Season 3 Part 2 because a lot of the episodes just pander and well, I don't really think pander is the right word. Just meander and just go on. Like, a lot of stuff can really be cut out. Like, the whole Malia thing, the first 2 episodes really wasn't needed. I feel like that was just there to replace Korra. As we all know, Malia was a Korra replacement. Malia was never intended to be in the show in the first place. So yeah, like, I feel that's just how I feel about it now. It fell off, and that's due to a lot of the, responses due to the controversy of the whole Arden Cho, Dylan O'Brien stuff. A lot of people just started overpraising this season like crazy just so Teen Wolf the movie can get painted in a negative light, which I definitely think it doesn't deserve to be painted in a negative light. Like, you can obviously have your opinions on it, of course, and that's fine, but I think that a lot of people need to start doing their research and not just looking into articles from biased parties such as CNN and The Wired and Deadline and all these notoriously shitty websites where they just lie to manipulate their audience. So yeah, this is my thoughts on that. So number 2, I'm gonna have to give it to Season 5 Part 2 of Teen Wolf. This, in my opinion, is one of the most enjoyable seasons in television for me. I can get through this season in a couple of hours. That's how good this season is to me. It's an absolute roller coaster ride from beginning to end. It has my favorite episode in the entire series, which is Season 5, Episode 16, Liability. That is a phenomenal episode in the show, and it's my all-time favorite Teen Wolf episode. You Motel California fans will be triggered by me saying that. But yeah, I don't have that much to say. I've talked about 5B a lot over the years. It was the season that got me into this. Well, not got me into, but it was the first season I saw live on television for Teen Wolf, like while it was still on TV. So I might have kind of a bias towards that because it was the first season of Teen Wolf I saw on TV. I saw every episode of 5B every single week when it aired. And yeah, that's just where I think 5B goes, in my opinion. I really love 5B. I still do think it's that good to this day. And yeah, so number 2. At number 1 is going to be Season 3 Part 1. This season has grown on me a lot over the last year and a half. During my last rewatch, I enjoyed the hell out of Season 3 Part 1. I think that the Alpha Pack storyline and the Duroc storyline is the best storyline in the entirety of the show. I think that even though the numbers weren't there, like with Season 3 Part 2, obviously because the popularity of the show was still growing at the time, I think that on a consistent basis, this season has way more enjoyable episodes than Season 3B. Like, some of the episodes are kind of slow, kind of boring, especially when you start to get to the Nogitsune and Kira and her mom and her family stuff. Like, some of those episodes I can kind of do without. You can kind of make that season a little shorter, kind of, just started padding for time, in my opinion. But yeah, it's kind of like 5B for me. It's a roller coaster blast from beginning to end. And I love, of course, the finale, Lunar Ellipse, where Scott becomes a true alpha. That's one of my favorite episodes in television ever. You know, the fight with Deucalion in his full powered beast form. And yeah, that's just how I feel about season 3 part 1. So let me know what you guys thought. Sorry for this lengthy video. Feel like you guys kind of deserve to hear my full thoughts on everything. With me being away for the last 2 weeks, I think the last video I uploaded was the Eli Hale Existence Explained one, which was put out like at the very beginning of February. It's like February 12th when I'm recording this. So yeah, plan moving forward is like maybe 2-3 videos at max a week, just because my schedule is so hectic with classes right now. I take 5 classes at school, and you know, with my major, it's a lot of work, so it's a lot of time I have to put into my classes, you know, outside of all the other stuff I do, including writing my book and stuff of that nature. And speaking of my book, I want to say thank you to my patrons. I started shouting out my patrons in my last video, but thank you to all my patrons and my wonderful supporters over on Patreon. You guys help support the True Alpha series and help, you know, support the book and keep that momentum going with it, you know. So yeah, I just wanted to thank you guys for all the support. I greatly appreciate it. And if you guys are interested in joining Patreon to get access to my book series True Alpha, you can read the latest chapter, which just dropped this past Friday, February 10th. It's called Silver Bullet. It's the 6th chapter of the first book. We are about 3-4 chapters away from the first book being completely done and finished. We have chapter 7, Into the Night, chapter 8, Wolfsbane, chapter 9, Window, and chapter 10, The Arsonist, still left in the chamber to be released. And then the full book releases, of course, on June 23rd, as I'm sure a lot of you guys know. So if you want to join Patreon and get early access to the chapters for True Alpha for just $5, you can click the link in the description. It'll lead you to my Patreon, where you can subscribe for $5 a month and read the monthly chapters for True Alpha. But with that all said, my name is Jade. Again, sorry for the lengthy video. Just had to really share my thoughts on all of this, because I've been, you know, holding these thoughts in for a couple of weeks. So I apologize for the super long video. But yeah, I'm out. Make sure you guys have a great rest of your day or night whenever you're watching this. Peace, love, and positivity. We're definitely bringing that mantra back to the channel because of course, what I mentioned in the stream, and you know, the change I want to bring to the channel moving forward, bringing the channel back to its roots, going back to what this channel was meant to be in the first place, which was a safe environment and a healthy environment for all Teen Wolf fans to have civil discourse, and you know, without any of the BS or the drama that comes with the toxic and quite frankly unbearable opposite side of the Teen Wolf fandom. So yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace. Hope you enjoyed the video, and yeah, see you later.